everyone. This is Gülümser. Very nice to meet you, Anıl. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Nice to meet you too. Yep.
And Burçin, yes, from Queensland Turkish Women Association, we like the interview with the inspiring women doing their goals in life and trying to achieve something in different environment, different culture, and different country. I don't think it is easy, so it's really nice to see that you are evolving in this culture and introducing something more artistic field. And some of our audiences or members are keen to learn from you and about your education, what you have done, how you've done it, how you manage your life. So we are really excited to hear more about it. I'm not sure if you heard about Queensland Turkish Women Association. So we established almost 3 years ago, delivered 45 events already, donated $40,000 across different fundraising events. We also supported earthquake emergency situation in Turkey as well. And in the meantime, we are doing career empowering seminars, youth empowerment, social networking, lots of different activities, and maybe Gülümser can add more into that. So Gülümser is our vice president and I'm the president. And if you have any questions, you can also ask us. But I'll maybe ask Gülümser to introduce herself and then we can start. What do you think?
Yes, sure. I'm Gülümser. I'm the Vice President of Queensland Turkish Women Association, and our purpose is to raise awareness about women's rights and development as a non-profit organization. And we are based in Queensland, and we are also introducing Turkish culture, Turkish cuisine, as part of our beautiful multicultural Australia. And as mentioned, Burçin mentioned, we are organizing lots of events and seminars, and more of them will be coming soon. So I know there are lots of people who would like to hear from us and who would like to join, especially for their career development or as a part of their development or education. So everyone is welcome to join us, and then we will try to introduce more powerful and leaders into the community so that they can be inspired. And I'm glad you are here today. I think you are one of them. So again, very nice to meet you. And I think we can start with our interview.
So before we start, would you mind introducing yourself, Anıl? Tell us about yourself, who you are, and what are you doing now? We know you have a baby recently, and congratulations.
Thank you so much. She's here with me at the moment.
Thanks for accepting our request. So we are really grateful for that.
Yeah, it's very nice being here with you, that hardworking woman. Yeah. So my name is Anıl. I'm an illustrator. I have been illustrating children's books for over 15 years now. So I started back when I was in Turkey. And we moved to Australia 13 years ago with my husband. And I kept illustrating books after coming here. It wasn't easy culturally, and yeah, everything was different, as you mentioned. But yeah, I feel like I'm succeeding on it. Yeah, I have been doing it and I love it. My background, I studied animation back at university. I did some animations for a few years. Then I decided to become an illustrator. And here I am. Yeah.
Okay, maybe let's start with the first question. Would you like to go first, Gülümser?
And so our first question is, what inspired you to become an illustrator, especially for children's books?
What inspired me? I actually became an illustrator sort of accidentally. Yeah, I shouldn't say accidentally. As I mentioned, I studied animation, and I was working in a company doing animations for children's apps, and it was around the children area again. Then one day, a friend of mine, who was an art director of a publishing house, offered a project. He asked me if I wanted to illustrate a book. I said, why not? I can give it a go. I illustrated that book together with another animator friend. And it was the beginning of my illustration career. I really liked it, and I continued doing it. After a short time, I left the animation industry, and I started being a full-time illustrator. I don't think if that answered the what inspired part of the question, but it's sort of
all good. I think we were also wondering about the background of being an illustrator, so I think that answered the question. Thank you.
Yeah. So, can you describe your typical process for creating illustrations for a kid's book? Because there are also many children and high school students reached us, and they are keen to understand what you use, how you use it. It would be nice to know more about it.
Okay, sure. I have a portfolio, first of all. It's online. People can go to my website and check my work there. Publishers and authors also do that. They go to my website. If they like it, they approach me with their projects. Then once we agreed on the project, they send me a manuscript. Manuscript is the basic form of a book. Like it's called manuscript before it become a book. Anyway, I read it. I read the story. Then I understand it. It's a challenge in English. Most of the stories I illustrate are in English, so I check the dictionary several times during the process. Anyway, then I start thinking about what to draw, what to tell the audience visually. I usually make a storyboard. It's like a brainstorming for the visual side of the book. And once I got it, sorry, one moment please. Okay. My co-worker just left.
Okay.
What I was saying. Yeah, I work on a storyboard. I have a notebook like that. So there are tiny little thumbnails. On each thumbnail, I draw what to tell on each page. So I have been repeating myself. Yeah, okay. Then I'm sending it to the publisher or author. We discuss about my ideas. Then I do sketches of each page. Then I again send them to the publisher. Again, we discuss it. It requires lots of communication with the publisher. Once the sketches are done, I continue with the final illustration, like coloring, cleaning up. And that is the final stage as an illustrator. Then I send the illustrations, a designer work on them. They put together the pictures and the words. Then they send it to the publisher. Then we read the book.
Yes, this is a really, I think, good explanation of
Interesting, isn't
the
it?
process. And would you like to add something else, Burçin? Or should I continue with the
Yeah,
question?
you can continue with the next one. Yeah, I'm curious about the techniques. Yeah.
Yes, so we are also wondering what tools and techniques do you use when illustrating? Like, do you prefer traditional methods or like digital tools?
I prefer digital tools.
Mhm.
So as I mentioned at the very beginning of the project, I put down my ideas on the notebook
Mhm.
using a pencil. That is the only traditional part I do. Then I move on to the computer.
Mhm.
I use a big screen. Let me try to show it to you. So this is the screen I'm working on. It's connected to my computer, and this is the digital pen. It's
Yeah.
like an iPad, but
Yeah.
much bigger.
It looks like a big screen.
Yeah, it's a screen, in fact. It's turned off at the moment, but when I turn it on, I see my screen on that screen. I usually use that one, and as a software, I use Photoshop most of the time. But recently, I try to use iPad as well, and as an app, I use Procreate on iPad. It gives me some mobility, so I can work on the couch in a park. Yeah, that's my recent goal, to improve myself on iPad and use it more often. That's all.
Do you do any sketching? Any sketching first, or is it straight into the digital?
No, the only sketching I do by hand is the storyboard stage. Then I do the rough sketches also on the digital area and environment.
Yeah, because it's children's book you mentioned. How do you decide on the style, like the color palette for each book? How do you do that?
Usually, I don't make a very conscious decisions. It sort of happens
Coming from
automatically.
your heart. Yeah.
Yeah, I read the story, and the story tells itself, like, what is the mood. So when does the story happen? Like, is it a nighttime? Is it a daytime? It defines the color palette partially. Then the mood also adds to it. So, is it a cheerful book that can benefit from lots of colors, or is this sort of sad book that are usually more around the monochrome side of the palette? But I don't sit down and think about it. It just happens naturally most of the time. Maybe it's because because of my education, I do it unconsciously behind my back.
Already now, yeah.
So it happens naturally then.
I think so, yeah.
Can you walk us through a recent project you worked on, and like how you brought it to life?
Sure, I have my most recent book here. It's called Rock Dogs, written by Sally Barnes and published by Affirm Press. This came out early August this year. So the process was exactly the same that I mentioned. First storyboard, then the sketch, then the final illustrations, and lots of communication between the publisher, emails. And with particular this book, so this is about dogs, a dog band. They're making music. And lots of old rock bands are mentioned throughout the book. So this is called Anti-Pepper, and I don't know if you can see.
Yes.
So these are old rock bands like Pink Floyd, but as a pink frog. So those the bass, the boars, that sort of things. And Kiss, the band, is inspired by the band Kiss, was a big part of the story. So to get into the mood, I wanted to listen to those musics, and I realized that I hate Kiss.
It is a strong band, I must say. I used to listen when I was in high school, and I love heavy metal, but Kiss is also different. They are unique.
I don't
Very
like metal.
How did you do?
No, it was a torture, to be honest. From those bands, I only like Pink Floyd. But luckily, the dog band ends up making a cappella, which I love. Yeah, when I talk about this particular book, I can mention this was different. I listened to some music that I don't like. Other than that, I had to research the dog breeds because each character has a personality and it's very connected to their breed. So I research lots of images, videos to understand their behavior and how can I give them personalities. That's how they become a character rather than just a dog picture. Then the rest of the process is just like I mentioned before.
I really like the analogy, by the way. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna ask the next question. What challenges do you usually face when illustrating for children, and how do you overcome them? Like, how do you know it will be liked by children, or it will be liked by the writer or the publisher? So how do you manage those? Is there any challenges? Maybe that's the first question. If there are challenges, how do you manage them?
Yeah, there are some challenges, of course, as everything. Apart from having to listen to kids, yeah, I face some challenges. Especially after coming to Australia, I realized the cultural differences. It's sometimes challenging. Sometimes my English abilities are not enough to understand the concept deeply. Sometimes I draw something wrong. For example, let me tell you a story. Once there was a roundabout in a book. So the book is about a grandma and a child having a beautiful day outside. They are riding their bikes, they go to places, they go to playground and play different things. And at one point, they use a roundabout. So I checked the dictionary. Roundabout is the round section of an intersection, like, and I drew that one. It turns out roundabout is also the name of a toy at a playground that turns round and round.
Alright.
So it doesn't make any sense drawing an intersection to a playground scene. I don't understand what they wanted to achieve with that scene, but it mentions roundabout, so I drew roundabout. And yeah, it was funny. They are lovely people. They explained me why. Oh, what is a roundabout? What should I draw instead?
It's a different synonyms, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it didn't happen to me, but when an illustrator from a different cultural background illustrates something, for example, power outlets, they are different in each country. If you don't think about it consciously, you can draw the outlet in your home country. But if I draw a Turkish power outlet, it would look very weird in an Australian book. So I have to think about these little details. Other challenges, business side of the job is challenging a little bit. A book requires lots of hours to finalize, but the payment is not that satisfying all the time. It's the industry. You don't get rich by illustrating one book. It takes time to build up your portfolio, your reputation, and even make enough money to make a living takes a lot of years. Negotiating that contracts, money, that sort of is kind of boring, and that's what I find difficult. I sometimes make my husband do it for me. His brain works better than mine in that area, luckily. I don't think other challenges are significant.
That's manageable when you get used to it.
Yeah, definitely.
I have one last question. So how do you ensure your illustrations engage and resonate with younger readers?
Again, like the color palette question, it comes automatically, naturally. To be honest, I don't know how to draw something for adults. I started working for children. I continue it. It's my audience. I don't know how to do for adults.
Yeah, I have maybe one or two questions left. Is that's okay?
Yeah, of course.
So, what are the good things about this role? Like,
sorry,
you have your. What are the good things of your role? Having your own thing, own project. You can see them published. What are the things you like about being an illustrator?
There are lots of things actually. First of all, I like drawing. That is how I started, and it cannot be possible if you don't like drawing, because it's the basic of the job.
Talent. Yeah.
I love smelling a freshly printed book. I love that smell. Seeing people's reactions, especially children's reactions about your book, it's very rewarding. Yeah, when people like it, it's a beautiful feeling. What else I like? I like working from home, so I don't get to dress every day.
Yeah, flexible.
But, going back to the previous question, it's also one of the challenges, because my office is my home. I have to balance work and family very well, otherwise it's difficult. Yeah, as you just saw, my baby was here. But my husband is working from home too. At the moment, he's taking care of the children. But yeah, there are lots of things a person do at home, like, usually chores, and everything. I have to fit some time in between everything. But still, I like having my office really close to home. That's something I like about it. Yeah, I think that are the main things that comes to my mind now.
Yeah, I guess it's more like at the end of the day, you are the boss of your work. You can decide, you can say no if you don't want to, you can choose. You can invest your time in, or if you don't want to, you don't. So that's, I guess, especially in these days, I think it's a gold. Like for people working at site, traveling, and it's a different lifestyle. So pros and cons, I guess, in different type of jobs.
I can ask for leave to my boss, and I'm a very crucial boss. I said no, no, you can't go to leave. You have to work. So I have to play both sides.
That's nice.
Okay, there are pros and cons, as you said.
I guess, yeah, I really like the fact that you can share something with your children. You can read the books, you can tell them the story, you know how to feel, and it's so nice to see someone can naturally do this, because I can never do drawings. I was always getting postcards, and I believe it's a bit of a talent. Even the digital technology is great, you're right. If the person is not passionate enough and doesn't like drawing, might be difficult. But it's so nice, you know, you have something in physical that you can show and explain to your children as well. That's so cute, I think. Last question. How long does it take to finish one book? And how many books minimum do you think an illustrator should prepare in 1 year to survive and continue in the business financially? There's two.
So when I sign a contract, we usually put a time frame like 6 months from start to end of the project. It's sort of the usual time frame. But I don't constantly work on one project during that 6 months. So I do let's say I did these sketches, I sent them to the publisher, they check them, they think about them, and it takes some weeks for them to get back to me. In the meantime, I jump to another project. So I juggle between a few projects at the same time. Otherwise, I can do only 2 in a year, and it's not enough to survive. I can't give you an exact number, like how many books that I need, but not 2, not 3, maybe minimum 4 if they are good deals. Yeah, it needs to be more. And in time, so some books, I make money out of the book sales for some books. They are called royalties. So in time, those royalties add up as well. So it makes it slightly bit easier financially, but they just drips unless it's a bestseller book. Like if it sells thousands, everything would be different.
You are getting so you are getting paid based on the number of publications approximately, and you said minimum 4 to survive, 6 months for a book, so you can work 2 books at the same time, I guess.
More than 2.
Yeah, something like that. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. It will be
Yeah.
good for people have no idea and starting trying to get into the business. I think that's a good share for them. Thank you.
Yeah, it's not realistic to expect making a living at the beginning. If any people wants to begin, yeah, it takes time. At least for me, I don't know if they are really great at what they are doing, really lucky that signing great contracts. It's doable, of course.
So how yeah, it's interesting because then if the book if it's very popular and start being internationally everywhere, and then they do continue to pay. Yeah, is that how it works, or is it more like an agreement for the 6 months and then it's done?
No, it's not based on time. There are different type of contracts, but traditional publishers usually work like that. So they pay in advance. Once they sell that amount, sorry, I should say, once the
Target achieved, yeah, something like that.
let's say, okay, so I'm starting from the beginning. It's a little hard to explain.
So I'm sure people will ask about it, that's why.
Yeah, I understand. So they pay me a percentage based on one book, and my percentage usually around 5%. So they sell a book and they give me 5% of it. That 5% is my royalty percentage. So once that amount covers the advance payment they pay to me, they start paying extra royalties. Let's say they sold 1,000 books and they covered the advance payment. So each book after that 1,000 copies gives me another 5%. So if they sell 10,000 books, never happens, on top of that 1,000, I continue to receive royalties as long as they sell it.
That's good. It sounds good.
Yeah, but usually their shelf life is a few years, a couple years,
Yeah.
and they start selling other books.
So, by the way, we have a limited time. We have like 5 minutes left right now. So I would like to ask one last question to you. What advice would you like to give for younger generations if they would like to become an illustrator?
What advice? This is a difficult question. I usually don't feel like I'm at the place of giving advice. Yeah, last time when we talked with Burçin, I mentioned her that find a rich partner first. It's a joke, of course, but sort of not. Anyway, if they want to draw and if they want to illustrate, they should start from the beginning, like drawing basics, like a ball, like a chair, like a box, that sort of things. because nowadays technology is very advanced, and many young people think they can rely on the technology, and they don't have to train their skills because technology helps. Yes, technology helps, but it's just a tool. At the end of the day, even though there is artificial intelligence now, in the book industry, still human makes things, human brain, human skills. So developing that skills is the first thing they need to do. And training their eyes, broadening their understanding is also a skill that needs to be developed. And it happens by reading books, seeing a lot of illustrations, being with illustrations, like checking them, not just doing it, I mean. Observing. I couldn't find the right words, but I keep trying, but I think you got the idea.
Yeah, we got the idea.
You can sort of create your own portfolio,
Yes.
and it's not going to be easy at the beginning. So probably they shouldn't get upset, I must say. In every occupation, I think it's similar. First years are usually harder, but I think the good message you've given us. Technology is not everything, especially for artistic jobs and creativity. I heard the fact that what you are asking AI to draw is always going to be different what I'm asking an AI to draw, because how you describe it probably is not going to be the same. So you're right.
You may end up with a better results, by the way, we never know.
No, I don't think so. I read some essays the other week about art and AI, and it was saying statistically artist is always doing better because the feeling and the mood, creativity is different. The other person is more monologue conversation, and it doesn't create that creativity or unique thinking, I guess. So that's nice, I think. Thanks for sharing.
Good to know that article.
What do you think, Gülümser? Are you good at drawing?
No, I'm not good at drawing. I think it is.
She's a scientist. I'm an engineer. We are very different.
Probably because you quit when you were a child.
Maybe. Who knows?
Yeah. Most people quit drawing when they grow, because they think drawing is for children.
Yes.
So the ones that don't stop, like myself, continue to do it.
So it becomes a lifestyle for you. It became a lifestyle for you, and you just kept doing it, and you became a superstar in illustrating in children's book, I guess. So thank you so much for today. I would like to say how much we appreciate your time for this interview. Personally, I am really inspired for this interview, and thank you again. And I would like to, maybe Burçin would like to add something else, and then we have less than a minute, so we should be.
I'll do it.
All right.
So thank you so much, Anıl. It was amazing to meet with you. I am inspired too. I'm sure many younger people will be interested in to watch the video again and again to learn from you. And you are inspiring in your field, and that's so nice. And we do respect in every occupation. We want to reach out to people so they can learn from our community. It's so nice to see a woman in Australia doing an illustrator jobs and doing their own business. It's so nice. I think we should all be proud, and thank you so much.
I thank you so much. It's great to hear